Morning everyone, it's Ryan from Financial Planning 101, just on my way into work, and I thought I would shoot a quick video. I want to talk about the transition to retirement pension strategy in Australia. So for a lot of you who are working in Australia, you're pretty familiar with the accumulation account. So that's the normal super account that you would be aware of. It's considered an accumulation account because you are accumulating wealth for retirement. At some point in time, you will also recognize that you will retire, and that accumulation account will be converted to a full account-based pension with the purposes of you will draw a tax-free income to meet your lifestyle needs. Now, there is this awkward teenage phase, this transition phase, where someone is looking at retirement, but they're not yet ready. They're not ready financially. They're not ready socially, emotionally, whatever it might be, but they don't want to fully retire yet. And what they want to do is they want to experience maybe what retirement feels like. So if they're working 5 days a week, they want to cut back to, 4 or 3 days a week to give them that time back to then allow them to do things that they would do if they weren't working, which I think is really important, because when someone does fully retire, it's a big line in the sand, right? They've spent a whole lifetime around other people. They've been very social. They've been very motivated. Every day they're in a car like I am, driving to work to do something. It gives them purpose. And then all of a sudden, they don't have that. It's pretty confronting for a lot of people. So it's a good idea to consider scaling back over a period of years leading into that full retirement. And when someone gets to age 60, again, this is not personal financial advice. This is me just speaking to a camera right now, and I do recommend that you seek personal financial advice. But what I am going to say is, someone, if they get to age 60, they've met their preservation age at this point in time, which means they've got the opportunity to move their accumulation account into a transition to retirement pension account. And what that allows them to do is have that flexibility. So they could then draw a tax-free income from that accumulation account, which, if in this example someone was to pull back to 3 days a week, they've now lost 2 days of income. They could then supplement through their transition to retirement pension. Now, there is a caveat to that. There is a maximum that you can draw from this account, which is 10% of the account balance. So let's say someone's got 500,000, then technically they could only draw 50,000. But for a lot of people, that's probably ample, right? What it also allows someone to do is have a look at reducing the amount of net tax they pay, right? With the idea that that reduction in tax means that they're going to add that to their net wealth. So for an example, someone would be working 5 days a week, they get to age 60, they meet preservation age and a partial condition of release. They start the transition to retirement pension, they draw out 10%. Now, they all of a sudden have a huge amount of disposable income. So what they could do is they could recontribute the proceeds back into the accumulation account, and then they could claim those proceeds, well, depending on their situation. I'm not saying that you can do this because I don't know who I'm talking to right now. But in this particular person's situation, they could then claim the contribution back into their accumulation account. A lot of words there. And then they could claim it as a personal tax deduction in their tax return. Again, there's lots of tricks and traps and caveats and clauses and all sorts of stuff around this. So it's not clear cut, and it's something that would need to be considered on a personal level and assessed. So do not do it. Do not just get to, 60, grab your accumulation account, move it all over and sort of transition to retirement pension, draw out 10%, stick it all back in, because you may end up violating rules, and then you'll be in trouble with the ATO and you'll get penalties. And I have given ample warning and disclosure, so none of this is on me, it's on you. So be very careful and speak to someone who is a professional. But the point there being, there is an opportunity to reduce the personal tax liability of that person. Yeah, 2 reasons. Flexibility of lifestyle helps with someone moving into full retirement on multiple levels, multiple reasons why. And then the other one is around the tax benefit of doing that, because you then have the opportunity to claim a massive, depending on your situation, tax deduction, which means you get a big tax refund. The alternative to that is instead of this particular example, the person was to draw out a lump sum and recontribute that back in as a personal tax deductible super contribution, is they start a salary sacrifice arrangement. So they would still in effect draw up to 10% as a tax-free income from the transition to retirement pension, and then they would salary sacrifice at the same time. Now there is a calculation clearly to work out what they would need to salary sacrifice because of the tax-free nature of the income. They wouldn't just draw out 45,000 and reduce their personal wages by 45,000. It would be a factor less than that because of the tax difference. If that's raised any questions in your mind, then by all means pop some questions down in the comments. And if there's anything else you want me to cover off in a subject, then let me know as well. But I'll catch you guys another time.